Good morning, or whatever time it is where you are. First off, I want to say thank you to Final Eyes for joining the Patreon yesterday. It means a lot. I hope you enjoy the content over there. I know I've posted a bunch of videos in the last week or so, and we'll continue to post more. So, thanks to everyone in the Patreon community. It means a lot to have you all there. I just wanted to make a short video this morning about what's real for me. And it seems like it's something that's in the collective right now, like really powerfully, which is lots of survival fears coming up. And it can feel really intense. It can feel really real, very overwhelming. You might feel like this really intense, powerful clench in your gut. You could feel all kinds of stuckness and pressure, and it can just be a lot for your animal body, nervous system, mind. I just want to say it's really important right now to not go into thoughts so much, to just try to be with the terror in your belly the best you can, to just really try to soften into it, to breathe into it, and not breathe into it in a way of trying to get rid of it as some technique, because that's only probably going to make it clench more. But just like if there was a terrorized like child in the corner of the room, like a 3 or 4-year-old, what would you go do to help him? You would you like force a breathing exercise on him? Would you try to get him to stop right away? No, you'd probably be really tender and gentle. And you would probably, just hold him, just comfort him. And you'd want to give that child the sense that he could be as scared as he wanted to be for as long as he needs to be. It's the same with like a rescue kitten or a rescue cat or dog or animal. It's like you've got to let those type of dogs and animals who have been traumatized and who are kind of out in isolation on their own, you've got to really just be a space of warmth and openness and love for them, and you got to really let them kind of go through their process on their own time of learning to trust you and learning that you're safe and learning that they're safe to really open to you. It's the same with the fear in your body. It's like you've got to let it go through its process and start to learn that it's safe on its own time. A lot of the things I'm seeing around and some of the comments in the past I've gotten is like people just want to know, how do I get rid of this fear? How do I get rid of this suffering? I don't want to feel it at all. And it's like when we're in that place, we're identified with the scared inner child. We're identified with the fear, right? Because that's coming from a fearful place. A lot of us are afraid to be with fear, period. And so I raise my hand there too. I've been there, and sometimes, not as much anymore, to be honest, but like, I've been there. I get it. And so the biggest thing is, that's why we go to the mind when there's fear, is because we're afraid to feel fear and we don't want to feel fear. And just how do we get rid of this? How do we go around it? How do we dissolve it? What do we do? Is there something we can take? Is there a ceremony we can go through? Is there, God forbid we have to feel the fear. God forbid we fall in love with fear. And so if you really want to be free of fear, the surest pathway to being free of fear is to fall in love with it. And when you fall in love with fear, you treat your fear like you would the 4-year-old in the corner who's terrified. You treat your fear like you would the rescue dog who's just in freeze and is really scared and won't come near you. You don't run after it. You don't chase after it to try, you know what I mean? You don't have this kind of energy with it. You're just like, all right, puppy dog. You can sit there and be as afraid of me as you need to be for as long as you need to be, but I'm here when you're ready for help, when you're ready for assistance on your journey. I'm here for you. And the people who are really good with rescue animals, you can watch his YouTube videos, they show up for the dog day after day after day after day. They show up and say, hey, we're here again if you're ready. if you're ready for us. I watch these videos on YouTube sometimes when I want to cry. Or maybe not when I want to cry, but when I watch them, I definitely cry a lot of the time. And there's one in particular where it took like, I don't know how long, I think it was months or maybe it was a year or something, where these people knew where this dog was kind of, this abandoned dog was kind of, off on his own and barely surviving and isolated and lonely. And they would just show up every day, and the dog, it was so freaking amazing. The dog would come like an inch or two closer every day until finally, after so much time had passed, he like ran in. I don't know if he like ran into their arms, but he just ran into like the little thing they had to take him, the little animal carrier. He finally was like, okay, these people are trustworthy. These people have showed me that basically they love me, for being just as afraid as I am. And that's what your fear needs. That's what your survival fear needs right now. Can you show up for it every single day? Even if it's just, still clenched tomorrow and the next day and the next day. Even if you're still feeling terror in your belly, can you still show up for it with loving warmth and openness and peace and acceptance? It's like this is what our survival fear is needing. It's needing warmth. It's needing tenderness. It just needs presence. It needs your presence. Can you just be with it? And then after a while, and this is going to sound crazy to some of your minds, but after a while, and this goes in line with falling in love with it, it's going to feel good to be with fear. Because you're present. That's the thing, guys. The present moment feels really good. If you're one with whatever's here, if you're one with grief, sadness, terror, pain. Because it's like the suffering is when there's separation. It's not even the pain or the fear or the grief or the sadness or the depression that's actually the real suffering. The suffering is your resistance to it. The suffering is your resistance to feeling it. But once that dissolves and once you become one with these sensations within you, that's nirvana. Nirvana is not getting rid of anything. Nirvana is merging with it totally. I had some question come through a while ago about this person wants total nirvana. He doesn't want to suffer. And it's like the path to suffer more is to push away that which you're afraid of. That's the path to suffering, is resistance. Is trying to go around things. Is trying to get things to not be there, to try to avoid them, to run into the mind to escape from them. The path to nirvana is to go through the very things which you don't want to feel. It's like that's where you meet bliss and ecstasy. And it's such a weird thing when you go into pain, when you go into terror, and you're just there with it, without any walls, without any thought about it, without any resistance. It's like that pain, that terror, it's just like, it immediately becomes like this blissful feeling, this love. And so can we just be with terror? I mean, that's our job. A lot of people are so worried about, what do I need to do with my life? It's like, no, you're doing it. You're here. Congratulations, you incarnated as a human being. Like, what more could you want? Let life handle it. Life's going to handle it all for you. Trust me, life supports life. Your life's going to unfold in just the way it was always meant to unfold. You worrying about it and forcing it's not going to change a fucking thing. What is going to change things is you learning to be with the fear in your belly. You learning that it's not a bad thing that you feel afraid. You actually merging with your mission fully. Your mission to love fear, to love pain. It's like that's going to create change. It's It's like, that's why you signed up to be here. That's why you're going through what you're going through. It's like our egos, they want all kinds of things out of this process, don't they? They want all kinds of things. Maybe they want fame, they want this, they want recognition, they want superpowers. They want to be this person who is revered, whatever. And so our ego says these feelings are bad because they're not letting me get what I want. I want this bliss. I want to be this person. So this fear is in the way. I got to figure out a way to not feel this, or how to get rid of it. I got to make circumstances in such a way that this goes away, and this pain is it's getting in my way because I'm not able to manifest what I want to manifest. It's just like, oh my God, what has happened? It's like, wow. Wow, I mean, it's such an innocent thing too. It's like the ego doesn't know any better than to think the pain is in the way of it getting what it thinks it needs and wants to be happy. But the ego will never be happy. Even if it gets everything it thinks it needs and wants, it's still going to be searching for the thing. And the actual direct route to happiness is to go right into the fear, to be present with your pain, to be present with the feelings you don't want to feel. But the ego doesn't like that route, because when we go that route, the ego falls away. The ego dissolves and you become your pure self. And then the ego doesn't have power anymore. So the ego is going to be really clever to try to get you to believe that the pain is too much, that the fear is too much to feel, that you can't feel it, that the ego is going to say things like, I just can't go on if I feel this. And that's so true. The ego can't go on when you go into the pain directly and feel it. The ego cannot go on, which is why it doesn't want you to do it, which is why it's going to ask questions like, I just want to do this path with no suffering whatsoever. I just always want to feel bliss. That's the ego. That's the ego. Your true self is always in bliss. That's the ego trying to get bliss. The ego can't get bliss. The bliss is not for your ego. This whole thing is not for your ego, guys. The ego needs to be here so that we can have a relationship with the world of form. But it's not here to try to run your life and tell you what you should be doing. How can the ego know what you should do? That's insane. Your ego has no idea. The ego is not a construct for that. The ego is just simply here so you can experience through the senses. So you can be spirit embodied in a form. And so, yeah, it's just like, guys, just trying to read this question again. No suffering whatsoever. That's like an ego dream. No suffering whatsoever. Sometimes we have to suffer so we can learn to fall in love with suffering. That's why the more we embrace suffering, the less we're going to suffer. It's a paradox, but it's just like the more we embrace that which the ego resists, the more we're free. And it's like, you don't even want bliss anyways. It's just a state. Bliss is just a state. Euphoria, these are just states. They come and go. What you actually want is freedom. You want freedom to be a soul in a human body and to live freely and to express freely and to be able to speak your truth and to share honestly and to do what you love to do. You want freedom. Freedom is the true value here on earth as a soul in a human body, not a state. States are just, they're whatever. They don't do much for you. They're just, oh, cool, bliss is here. Oh, okay, interesting. It just moves through. We start wanting states when we've become identified with the scared inner child. That's when we start wanting certain states all the time. So notice that when you're wanting a certain state, or you're saying your pain is a problem, or the fear is in the way of you getting what you want, you're identified with a concept, with a construct, with fear. You're identified with your survival fear. And you're here to hold space for all of that, not become it. And I know it takes a while to unravel from it, and we all get caught up in it from time to time. Raising my hand again. I just say all this stuff because I know it, because I lived it. And sometimes it'll come up in my experience again. But the more it comes up and you get free from it, when it comes up, you can drop it pretty quick, almost immediately. And then you just keep abiding as this moment, as oneness, as your soul. And then whatever arises, love that. Like Matt Kahn says, it's like, that's from that place, whatever arises, love. Fear, I love you, fear. Pain, I love you, pain. Grief. Come here, grief. I love you so much. Because you know they're the doorway to God. They're the doorway to your own liberation. They're the doorway to shedding another layer of egoic consciousness. I've said enough. I love you all. If you want more content, I'm posting lots of content on the Patreon platform. Lots of good stuff there. Discounted one-on-one time with me as well. For a limited time, I think I have it set right now. You get a free 7-day trial if you want to just check the stuff out, see if it's worth it to you. Giving you that option right now since it's pretty new. Just trying to see, just trying to give you guys an idea of what it is, see if it's right for you. If it resonates, awesome. If not, no hard feelings, whatever. Love you guys. See you in the next video. Namaste.